I'm Doug Wiley with Police Magazine. I'm here with Melissa Swales. You and I are part of an organization called blueh.e.l.p.
Yes.
And our mission is multifold: to educate, to lead, to help officers become aware of an important issue, and that's officers who've died by suicide. Your husband, David, died by suicide in February of 2016.
Yes.
We've talked about your story. We haven't really discussed what great work blueh.e.l.p. does, and I think that you'd be a great spokesperson for blueh.e.l.p. in general, and what we are hoping to accomplish.
Yeah. Well, I also have a very personal vested interest in the organization as well, in the components of honoring my late husband and preventing this from occurring. Part of what blueh.e.l.p. does is, like you said, very multifaceted. There's data collection that hasn't been done before.
Right.
Other organizations do, bi-yearly or don't have a complete picture of the extent of this issue, the way that blueh.e.l.p. has attempted to try it and not only make sure that the information they have is valid, but
Up to date, current.
Up to date, yes, and relevant. One of the first things that blueh.e.l.p. did was bring honor to the officers that had died by suicide, and recognizing that it wasn't how they died that mattered, it was how they lived, and to recognize that service that many of them provided to their country, to their community, to...
Yeah. Well, David was in the Navy for 4 years and then a Los Angeles police officer for 10 years.
Right.
And our memory of him should be of all of that dedicated service, not of the way in which he passed away.
It's amazing to me that the last few minutes of his life somehow negates all of the things that he's done prior. And that's part of the honor component. And David was one of the first officers honored on the Honor Them website, and which was an online memorial, because there is no memorial, there is no recognition. I was fortunate that LAPD did recognize his service, and they did provide a full service with honors, as well as the military. That's not always the case.
No, that's uncommon, actually.
It is. It's very uncommon, and as I've met other ladies in my situation, or other families, or other grieving parents of law enforcement officers who's died by suicide, I realize that is the exception, when, in my opinion, it should be the rule.
It should be the norm.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And part of blueh.e.l.p. is raising that awareness that this isn't the case. And I really also, too, like the education component.
Yeah.
They do several conferences across the country throughout the year, and I've been able to participate in several of them. And I think what's unique about what they do is that they bring in resources and people who are experts in this field, and who are experts at developing really what I see as a comprehensive overall officer wellness, not just a prevention of this horrific thing happening, but encouraging an overall healthy officer.
It's interesting that they draw law enforcement officers from all over that region, wherever it's, if it's going to be in Dallas, if it's going to be in Chicago, Orlando, and it's interesting to watch the audience change. Over the 2 days, you have these hard, typical cop, right? And by the end of the first day, you go, we've cracked the shell. I'm a native New Yorker, so I'm like a turtle. I'm hard on the outside and soft and mushy on the inside. And that's when we finally discover on the second day, where you see these men and women in the room go, aha.
Yes. I think, too, one of the things that I witnessed that isn't really highlighted that blueh.e.l.p. does is it connects peers.
Yeah.
It connects survivors. And that's kind of an after effect. It wasn't necessarily maybe the intention of the organization, but it's one of the things that's kept me okay.
You and I have become friends.
Yes.
We've had conversations on the phone. We've had conference calls.
Yes.
And I am I dread the fact that there's the reason we became friends, but we've become friends.
Yes.
And there's a great value in that. It's a national network of people who are peer support,
Yes.
who can listen to your story and have empathy. Just the ability to connect and remain connected with law enforcement.
Yes.
Because altogether too often, the department shuns you.
Yes.
The guys and the gals who are on shift, they suddenly vanish. And you become, you lose a part of you. That family, that law enforcement family.
Yes.
And this is that extended family kind of reunited.
That thin blue line, that
Yes.
blue family. And I did experience that to a certain extent. And I had to take a step back and realize, why was this happening? And a lot of the time, the officers don't have the skills to cope with the grief.
Right.
And their response is to, step back, because if I don't see it, it doesn't exist, and I don't have to address it, I don't have to deal with it. And at first I was becoming very resentful and bitter, because, like you said, these were family.
Yeah.
These men and women had been there when my babies were born. They, went on fishing trips,
Backyard barbecues, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. Yeah. And I thought, where are they? I even remember at one point, probably a year out, writing a scathing email to a few very close friends of my husband that were on the job, saying, look, I got this kid who's struggling. He's 15 and he needs his dad and he doesn't have it. And you guys at the service told him, I'll always be there,
right,
whatever you need. Well, guess what? This is what I need. And I was very explicit. I said, take him to the movies to go see the new Star Wars movie. I need you to, come play catch, or I need you to do this. I was very explicit about what these boys needed. And there wasn't a response. And I remember thinking, okay, well, silence is the loudest response. And I sat there for a while, really mulling over the hurt and the abandonment, because it's a secondary loss.
Yeah.
The first loss is, the central
catastrophic
figure. Exactly. And now there's all these other secondary losses. And I realized, look, I can sit here and I can be bitter and I can point fingers and blame, or I can do something different. And part of joining blueh.e.l.p was redefining what that blue family was. And you're absolutely right. It's that support nationally. I on a daily basis speak to other widows of law enforcement suicide who are all over the country, to provide support to them and for myself as well. And just at, like we talked about the conference, having other departments recognize, supportive lines of communication amongst each other and what they're doing at their departments and what's working and what's not. I think those are the most valuable conversations that we have at those conferences, those connections that are made.
It's really important that law enforcement leaders and officers, from patrol all the way up to chief, understand that there are many resources listed on blueh.e.l.p. Hotlines, places where people can get assistance, so that we can hopefully begin to mitigate this silent, widespread tragedy of law enforcement officer suicide.
Absolutely. And because of this organization, I've been able to bring even more awareness, and I think that's crucial in my own work at LAPD, because of what I've learned and the confidence I've gained in this mission. I am putting on the very first suicide awareness walk for the department, and was given unlimited resources and support. And it's really because of this organization that has given me the tools and the knowledge and the confidence to be able to continue these conversations, as uncomfortable as they are. They are very.
Yes.
To walk into a station at roll call and talk to officers about suicide is not an easy feat.
Yeah.
But with the data and the support of friends like you, it makes it doable.
Yeah.
It makes you feel not so alone, and that it's a very noble cause.
We're doing good things, and I really appreciate all of the work that you do. I'm deeply saddened and sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
But we honor David, by moving forward and trying to change the culture.
Absolutely.
Doug Wyatt with Police Magazine.